Huh. What's this? Alright, we got a waifu game, Trigger Heart Exilica on the Dreamcast. This is the best Zelda dungeon ever, isn't it? Of all the franchises out there, one franchise that's had definitely one of the most storied histories in all of gaming has been the Legend of Zelda franchise. Now there are a ton of lists and videos out there debating about which game in this franchise is the best. But I'm not really here to do that. You can make an argument for any one of the games in this franchise, and you can make a good case for them being the best in the franchise. So the only thing I can really do here is give you my perspective, my point of view for what my personal favorite Zelda games are. And who doesn't love top 5 and top 10 lists? Well, this is a top 5 this week, but you get the point. I mean, that's how Watch Mojo made their whole empire. They made the whole fucking empire off of top 10 and top 5 videos. Only if you come here, you come to someone who actually has standards. That's actually a lie, but you get the point. But anyway, let's start with this list right. So let's start with number 5, We're Feeling Alive. Majora's Mask was a game I didn't play much later in life until around high school, and I really enjoyed it. What made Majora's Mask, for me at least, was the environment. Everything in Termina is just slightly off. There's an air of confusion going around, and it plays out in the story. You see a lot of familiar faces from Ocarina of Time, but they're not the same faces you saw. These are new people trying to live their lives, trying to make some sense out of their lives until the end comes. And speaking of the end, I gotta give the creators points for the moon design. It's such a freaky design, and I think that's a design that will stick around for basically the rest of creation. The moon knows it's going to crash into the earth, and it can't do a damn thing to stop itself. Based off the Ocarina of Time engine, Majora's Mask does nothing new with the system, it just does it the same, and that's perfectly fine. But there's more stuff added to Majora's Mask to make it its own unique experience. While there's not as many dungeons this time around, there are a lot more side quests to do, and almost every one of them is very rewarding and actually fun to do. I hate it when games give you those stupid side quests of, like, you know, kill X amount of Y or collect 90 scrotums from the whatever dimension. You get the point. And another thing I like about Majora's Mask are the masks. It's fun to transform into Deku or a Zora and use those abilities to solve puzzles or fight bosses. Overall, Majora's Mask, for my money at least, is one of my favorite Zelda games, and I think the years have been very, very, very kind to it. Number 4, There's a Talking Door. Much like a fine wine, Wind Waker is another game that has only gotten better with age. It was a game that I didn't really like initially on the GameCube, mostly because of that first fucking dungeon where you lose your sword. I hated that. Like, you just gave me the sword, so let me go kill shit with it. And I never liked having to go sail around the ocean trying to fish the Triforce. That just always seemed very, I don't know, undermining of the power and the prestige of the Triforce, that I have to go fish it out of the ocean by talking to Tingle? Really? But when I picked up the HD release years and years later, I've come to realize that Wind Waker is a really goddamn good game. Majora's Mask is very dark and somber. Wind Waker, while not without its own dark moments, is very bright and colorful. Everything in Wind Waker is very distinct to look at, and it's full of personality. Thanks to this new cel-shaded art style, each character is very expressive this time around, and you can tell a lot about them just by looking at them. Link in particular needs to be commended here for the ability to actually express himself through his face. He's no longer just this plain core boring protagonist that we're meant to project ourselves onto. Link is a character that we can relate with. He shows anger, he shows sadness. He is, well, for lack of a better term, a character. While sailing was an oft-criticized part of the first title, I actually didn't mind it. I like going around, I like charting the sea. I like talking to those little fish guys every time and giving them bait and having them fill out my sea chart. I really like that. And thanks to the HD version's ability of the swift sail, it becomes a lot less tedious to do so. I like adventuring, and Wind Waker allows me to do just that. The Great Sea is calling, and Wind Waker
HD.
Number 3, I knew a girl who liked to drink pee. I had to really think about this one, but I say Breath of the Wild is my third favorite Zelda game. It gave the Wii U a graceful send-off, and it introduced us to the wacky world on the Nintendo Switch. And what a game to do so. It got 9s and 10s across the board, with one curious 7 out of 10. And to be honest with you, this game really does deserve all the praise it gets. Yeah, there are some really annoying mechanics here. The weapon degradation is a bit too strict, and when it rains, it pours. And when you compare it to other open world games during the last generation, it doesn't do anything new. But here's the thing, a game doesn't need to do anything new, it just needs to do something right. And Breath of the Wild gets it right. The appeal of Legend of Zelda, to me at least, is the ability to explore the world freely, and Breath of the Wild gives you the ability to do so. Once you get out of the starting plane, once you get out of the opening plateau, the whole world is explorable basically from the word go. And thanks to Link's ability to climb basically anything and fly anywhere, it gives the player a sense of freedom that other open world games just really haven't been able to match. And that also expands to other facets of gameplay, most notably combat. Is it better to go around like Solid Snake and just pick off bad guys one by one? Or is it better to get a big fucking sword and go in charging Recreant by Chelsea Grin while you kill everything in sight? Why does Deathcore go so well with this game? Breath of the Wild won a lot of Game of the Year awards last year in 2017, and like I said, it really fucking deserves it. If you own a Switch and you don't own Breath of the Wild, what the hell's wrong with you? Go buy it. It's a really goddamn good game. And I also just picked up the DLC too, and it's pretty fucking lit if I say so myself, even though Link can't make Rex's outfit look good. Number 2, sad for you! You always remember your first lover, your first kiss, your first time waking up somewhere different from where you fell asleep at, and your first Legend of Zelda. My first Zelda was Ocarina of Time. More specifically, Master Quest on the GameCube, where I got my friend's copy for free, but this jackass didn't know how to take care of his shit, and only the Master Quest side of that game disc worked. Bastard, like how hard does it take care of a fucking disc? Anyway, Ocarina of Time is really awesome. The skeleton of Ocarina of Time works really well. You go to 3 dungeons, get the loot, power up, get the Master Sword, then trade that in for the big Goron Sword, run around, kill shit, question mark, question mark, question mark, bang Zelda, profit. Wait, what? Link actually doesn't bang Zelda in this game? Really? Oh, damn, what a cock tease. When I played Master Quest on the GameCube, I was still in elementary school, I believe. I never really played any other open world games. I didn't have Shenmue on the Dreamcast, and games like Sonic Adventure or Pac-Man World, they only had hub worlds that connected to linear levels. To a certain extent, Ocarina of Time was my first exposure to open world games, as once you got out of the Kokiri Forest, you can kind of go wherever you wanted to go, within reason obviously. Those fucking Piats will fuck your shit up. I really like feeling like an explorer, and I think that is why I like the Zelda series so much. I like exploring. I like seeing the world through my own 2 eyes. I like being able to slaughter all these evil demons and call myself a good guy. It's just a lot of fun. Some people say this game isn't as good as it was back in 1998, but honestly, it really holds up. If you were to take a game with Ocarina of Time's skeleton, story, and world, with Majora's Mask, density, and level design, we could have the best video game ever bar Cosmic Carnage on the Sega 32X, and I don't say that lightly. I recommend getting the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time, as it plays better and looks better, and has the Master Quest on the card. And it's portable, that's always a plus. And now for the grand finale. My favorite Legend of Zelda game is the Legend of Zelda DLC for Sonic Lost World. Fuck yeah, boy! You gotta go quick! As Sonic, dressed as Link. Check it out! All the rings! They're rupees! This is sick! How come they didn't make Sonic Forces like this? But anyway, seriously though, here's my favorite Zelda game. For real this time. For real though, my favorite Legend of Zelda game is Link Between Worlds, or A Link Between Two Worlds as I always think it's called. I bought this title before I left for studying abroad in Kyoto, and I played it on the plane ride to Japan, and it really made my trip, well, fly by. Nyuk, 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 nyuk. At this point in my life, I was basically only grinding fighting games non-stop, and I still had a bad taste in my mouth from Skyward Sword. But I was eager to get into a new Zelda on the handheld system, and I fell in love. Link Between Worlds does a lot of things that I love in video games. The whole world is open from the word go, and players can tackle any dungeon in any order. The weapons are now available to rent from the store, so now players can customize their own play experience to their own taste. Merging with the wall is one of the best gameplay gimmicks I've seen. It adds just enough to the game to stand out, and it doesn't feel gimmicky at all with some of the puzzles that the wall merging mechanic uses. Most importantly, there's no Navi or Fi barking in your ear every 5 fucking minutes. Those stupid fucking... Link is truly alone in this world, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I do have one slight problem. Without spoiling anything, the plot does have some really good complex moral questions near the end of the game, and perhaps it creates one of the most morally complex Nintendo characters period, but they don't really go anywhere with the idea. Overall, for my money, if you were to play one Legend of Zelda game for the rest of your life, or at least introduce yourself to this magnificent franchise, my money's on Link Between Worlds for the Nintendo 3DS. Ooh, that was fun, wasn't it? So many great titles, so many legendary titles in this legendary franchise, and it is legend. Wait for it. Dairy. I'm really curious to see what's next for this franchise, as with Breath of the Wild really setting the standard, it set the bar for the Switch and the series to come. I really want to know what they're gonna go for from there. But maybe something interesting, something wacky, something different. We don't know. Hopefully it'll be better than Skyward Sword, because that game was pretty freaking bogus. But anyway, guys, let me know what your favorite Legend of Zelda game is in the comments, or hit me up on Twitter at ZMangs. Holla at you, boy. Follow me on Instagram. I like Instagramming a lot more than tweetering. You get the point. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. See you next week for a new episode of The Z-Man Show. Later, everybody.